and then we can look into some other aspects of understanding data. So yesterday we said how you get to understand your data is you look at your column headers, you look at the data and try to simplify it into one simple sentence. You try and use a sentence to describe it, So I think we did this yesterday. So if we move on to the next one, have a look at this data 12. We've got those headers there, year, team ID, league, division, HR, up to salary. And we've got some names of some teams there. So who can tell us what's in one sentence, what they believe this data is about?
It's like a sports team and their salary, sports teams and their salary.
Okay. So if we go by this year 2000 here, so we can say it's a year 2000 record of some teams. And this, they look like some teams in America, as we see Florida, Minnesota, and stuff like that. So we can say there is a 2000 record of teams in America and their ranks as well as their salaries, and we can, put a bit more elements in describing that data so that you have a good overview of it. We move on to the next one. Here we go. We've got a list of BRMA. Don't know what that means. Anyone knows? But under that, we've got names of places. I see Ashford, Aylesbury, Barnsley, Bedford. And there is HMO. There is HMO, and we see calendar monthly equivalent. This is, we see 1 bed, 2 bed, up to 4 bed. So who thinks they understand what this data is about? Any ideas?
Like health insurance.
You said?
Maybe like health insurance or something.
Health insurance. Okay, what makes you think it's something to do with health insurance?
Because you look at the HMO and beds. So
housing.
Okay, health insurance, housing.
Yeah. Prices of houses, weekly prices.
Okay.
I think it's rental data.
Rent, yeah, weekly
rental data.
Weekly rental, weekly.
Yeah, there's calendar monthly equivalents there. And probably this is the weekly one on the left-hand side. And we see the names of those locations where, those houses are. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That helps. We move on to this data table. What can we say about this one? We've got dates, customer acquisition type. You see states with American locations there. So at least we see products, price, units, revenue, delivery, performance, return, customer satisfaction. Do we have any idea what this might be about?
The marketing data.
In marketing data. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What makes you think it's a marketing data?
Because of the reach. When you're looking at the fact that there is the organic returning, so we returning customers, you don't really have to like market to them anymore. They've
Right.
already bought something, and they're coming already. Then the other ones, the ad says people that were acquired through adverts.
Right.
The organic one says through organic reach.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. Thank
Then
you.
the products are, marketing generally products, those are the things they probably came back for that they bought.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Anything different, any opinion different from that about this one? No. All right. So we move on then. Thank you. And we've got this that says data free. This seems to be something that we could be a bit familiar with. We've got order dates. We've got the years, order quantity, cost of sales, sales profits. Are we getting any ideas just yet?
Sales data.
Sales data.
Sales.
Okay, sales data. And we might want to even put more information by saying 2018 to 2021 sales data, of if there's any more descriptive data there that we could use, to nail it well. But the moment we know that it's sales data, and we've got countries or regions where those sales happened, that gives a good knowledge of what we are doing, So thank you. And here we go. Here is another one. I see zip, EIH, utility name, state, service type, ownership, com rate, IND rate, and RES rate. Has anyone got any idea what this might be about? What's the first thing that jumps out at you looking at this?
I would say for me, maybe it's maybe energy or telecoms data. I don't know which one.
Okay. What makes you think it could be those two? Is it
Yeah, service type is, it says bundled. I think I'll rather go for, I don't know. Yeah. If it says bundled would mean maybe like one or two services when they are put together, and maybe sold as a package. Investor owned might be maybe a device, and the rates might be maybe the rates the rates that people pay for different usage.
right?
I think I'd rather go for energy. I don't know.
Okay, at least what you're saying really is making sense. Apart from what you said, we know it's something to do with America again. All these AZAL.
Yeah, Arizona and all that.
Alabama, yeah. So, and their zip code, they use zip, we use postcode. So, so I mean, if we scroll down more.
Okay, Power Co. I've just seen it says the Alabama Power Co. So it should be energy then. Yeah,
Okay.
in the middle, that's where it says utility. Okay, so yeah, the heading says utility name.
Yeah.
And that says Alabama Power Code. So that means it's got to do with energy. I can see Alabama Power Code all the way down.
Okay. So yeah, Power Co. Okay.
Debbie,
so, yes.
could you please check chat? Somebody's putting stuff on chat as well.
Okay. Oh, we've got 12. Right. Fumi has been answering questions here. Okay, it's a B road rental market area. Okay. So on the stock exchange, utility stock, perhaps utility company. So, I mean, utility seems to go in the same direction as what the sister who was talking about energy now, energy company, data from them, you know. So thank you very much for me. Right, we move on to the next one. Here we go. We've got category, segment, scenario, date, and value. And in the category, we've got urban, segment, we've got convenience. I don't have my mouse here, trying to filter, just to see if we can see more apart from the first few rows we are seeing. Okay, extreme, forecast budget. Are we having any ideas about what this might be about? The other category, we've got rural youth mix accessory. And on that segment, we've got quite a few things there. Accessory, all season convenience, extreme, moderation, productivity, you know, and so on. And then we've got scenario as forecast and budget. Okay, forecast and budget seems to drive some points home for me. That isn't much, there isn't much there. And then we have value, the value of whatever it is we're looking at. Does anything sound familiar to any one of us here about this data? I mean, convenience would be something around convenience store, was what I was thinking. But now that we've got productivity, regular, select, you know, stuff like that.
What do you have with urban? What is merged with the urban bits?
Let's see. Urban is convenience.
Okay, accessory mix, rural youth.
So urban is convenience. Okay, not just convenience, extreme, moderation, regular.
I got no idea.
It's quite very vague.
Yes, very, very.
Let's see what youth is about. Youth, and that's it really. Okay. Let's take a wild guess. It doesn't have to be correct. What is this data? What sort of vibe are you getting from this data? I've got something here. Okay, has got a question. When you're collating data or creating a report, should it be clear to anyone or only to those it's intended for? When you are collating data, creating a report, should it be clear to anyone or only for those intended? So it should be clear for those intended. It should be clear to you as well. So those it is meant for, basically, those are the people that it concerns. because looking at some of these data, we are guessing what they are for. Yes, that's just because we are looking at many types of data and trying to understand how to understand data. Yeah, but in your work environment, definitely you will know the type of data that you are working with. Most of the time, you might really need to sit down to try and really understand what you are looking at, especially if you are new to the work. And even if you are not new to the work, some new things might just come up that you had not seen before, and you have got to make sense of it. So that is that sort of skill we are trying to practice, looking through different, types of data from different industries. Does that make sense for me? Also, if you have been provided with some of the report as a data analyst, will the report suffice, or will you have to do some requirement gathering to understand the report being presented to you in order to fully give it an accurate data? Most of the time, it is not clear. You have to keep, going to and fro and asking questions, and just starting off and showing what you have done so far to whoever gave you that work to do. And if they are not completely satisfied, at least they will see what you've done, and then they can give more clarity. But most of the time it's vague. Most of the time, not all the time. Okay, someone says community planning forecast. Community planning forecast. Do we think this, Annie, what makes you think this? Are you able to talk, Annie, or not? But yeah, what your suggestion sounds to look like it is just that it looks like it's for different communities then, because we've got urban here. And under category, let me take this out. Under category, it's not just urban and rural that we've got. They've got stuff that's, it's a youth, mix, accessory. Now, those other components of it, they don't really suit what rural and urban is, So this is, and most of the time data is not clear. This is where then, if I was given something like this to work with, and I'm just struggling with understanding it, this is where I take it back to where I got it from, the people who gave me the work, and get clarification from them, and then they can solve that riddle. And I'm glad that we came across something like this, because it is just what happens in real life anyway, So I would say within the remaining minutes that we've got, let's talk a little bit about data types. Data types. So if I go back to the beginning, so we've got all these column headers that we've got, fruit ID, and what they have under them, the data they have under them, fruit name, fruit cost, season, they're all different. Sometimes you're looking at fruit ID, you're looking at it as a number. Fruit name, you are looking at it as text. And fruit cost, you are looking at it as currency, and on and on and on like that. It is very important that whatever tool you are using, in our case, we are looking at Excel. It is important that Excel, in this case, sees your data the right way. So if I want fruit ID to be seen as a number, it is necessary for me to come here, and this is where the data types are for Excel. We can see where it says general, so there's no format to it. And most of the time, if you have different characters mixed, general is fine, because it can't really pen it down to one particular type of data. And then we've got number, and we can see it's got fruit ID there because it's seeing it as number. We've got currency. Now fruit ID is not currency, but we've got currency there. We've got accounting, short dates for any data that any of your data set that's got date. We've got short dates, long dates. Sometimes you need to deal with time. You know, we've got percentage, fraction, scientific, and more. There's quite a lot of it. Actually, if we click on more, there's general, as we've seen before, fraction, scientific, text, special, customer, you know, custom, sorry, not customer. Custom is you can customize the data type the way that you want it to appear, you know, and I believe we'll get to that at some point, you know. So any question at all about what data types are?
You have a question on the chats.
Is it? I think we've answered the question. Power, infrastructure, ownership, and pricing data. Okay. No, there's no new question. It was something from Mr. Muiwa suggesting what one of the data sets that we looked at before.
Yeah, that was one of the old ones.
Yeah.
The one that had power, the one that had something to do with power.
That's right.
But if I may ask, just this one, I think I took my eyes, I was making some notes, so I took my eyes off the screen for 1 second.
Right.
I believe it was the drop down beside general that you clicked on to show the data types.
Yes, this one.
Okay, is that universal? For
How do you
mean? So are these the different data types for any type of data set that one is presented with? Or is it applicable to this specific?
No, it's universal.
It's universal. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
universal. Any data set you are met with, this is what you would find.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Any more questions about data types? We'll be working more with data types from tomorrow. How to change our data types to what we want it to be seen as. For example, let me change this to a table actually. Let's work in this as a table. Okay, what I've done now is let me cancel this and do that again. So I came to the beginning of my data and I'm pressing, because I don't have time to highlight all of them manually. So I'm pressing down my control, my shift arrow, and the arrow that goes to the right, so that it goes straight from that first fruit ID to the last column where it can detect there is data. I'm holding that down, and then I press down my down arrow. So Control Shift, right arrow, then down arrow. That's what I've done to select all of that. If you've got like thousands, millions of rows, and there's no break in between, that always works. Or you can I can just do Control A, you know, Control A, which is simpler, just picks everything. So those are shortcuts you can write down because they are very helpful. And because I want to change this data, I'm trying to change it to a table because tables are better to work with. They are more effective. At the moment, this is what we call a range. It's just a range, you know. But when if I should convert this to a table, it's easier for me to use the functions, you know, that I want to use. It picks things more far easier. So that's why your preference most of the time would be to work, to change, if this is what you've got in front of you, to change it to from this, just this range to a table. And I'll Control A that to pick the whole range all together. And I've come on to insert because I want to insert table. So insert table, and it's asking me here, it's asking me from this dialog box here, create table. Where is the data in your table? Now I've picked the cell range that's got my data, and it's highlighted there. So from A1 to I95, that's the very last column. And here, if this was not checked, say it wasn't checked, I need to let it know that my table has got column headers, so that those column headers are identified as headers, not as my first row. So I'll check that and I'll okay that. And it changes that to a more beautiful scenery, you know, a more beautiful table. And if I'm not happy with this color, I can always come to my table design here. Since it's always in the way for me. So I can come to this table design and choose whichever color I want it to change it to, if this is my preference, or this, or this. So, and you've got loads to actually choose from, whichever one you like. But for those who like their colors, simple green would do for me, you know. So fruit ID, the first one there, let's just spend 1 minute more, because I don't want us to overdo things with that challenge. This is an ID. Should an ID be seen as number at all? Being seen as number means it's going to add it up. It can do aggregate functions on it. Aggregate functions are those functions like you are multiplying your numbers, adding your numbers, removing, subtracting your numbers, dividing your numbers, what you do with numbers normally. But when we call something an ID, it is unique. My customer number with Tesco is unique to me. Someone else doesn't have that customer number. Even if it's customer ID, even if it's presented as number. So many a time, I would personally, and I find most people do that as their practice, I would come here and change this, come under home where we have our data head. It's seeing it as general at the moment. I would prefer it to be seen as text. You know, I would say, change this to text for me. I can't find text under there directly, so I'll go to more. And here I see text. I'll say, change that to text for me, because I don't want it to be seen as a number. And we can see immediately this was aligned. Numbers in Excel are aligned to the right, numbers and dates. But immediately I changed it to a text, it's aligned it to the left, just like any other text, you know, like fruit name is aligned to the left as well. So data types, very, very important. If I've got a date table and it's not seeing it as a date, my report won't be able to pick any calendar information out of it. So we'll talk more about more data types and work with more data types tomorrow, and how to clean our data. It's all part of understanding what you are doing with data. If there's no question right now, I'll say let us go get ready for our 9 o'clock class. Any question?
The fruit ID column. After clicking on text and the adjustment it has made, won't it still be summable? Won't this still be summable? Because I think that's one of the things we're trying to.
Yeah, it won't be summable anymore. It can only count what I've got here now, because yeah, it's like telling it to sum A plus B. It will not be able to do it. because
Right.
A and B are text. So these are not summable anymore, because you see when I clicked on that, on just that, it's changed, is seeing it as text.
Right.
So
I
in
get it.
any pivot table or stuff that we do, it can only count it. It will never do it more than count.
Right. Okay. So the text function makes, by itself automatically precludes, it precludes it from being summable, irrespective of what is there. Okay. Thank you.
That's right. Yeah, you're welcome. Any more questions? Tomorrow, I'm gonna be calling on us to work on, different data types and see how we change them if they are not what we want them to be. Hope we'll be prepared, because we are not asking questions now. Yeah? Okay. I'll say see you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you so much, Auntie Debbie.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
you.
Thank you.